The first time I saw her, I thought she was just another strange market woman. She had one orange sitting on a little wooden stand, shining bright in the sun. Everything about her store was different. Other people around her were shouting, waving their hands, trying to get people to buy, but her stall was quiet. Just one orange. I had never seen anything like it, and it made me curious. So I walked up to her stall, half expecting her to be one of those who'd quickly try to convince me to buy, but she didn't even speak. She just looked at me, waiting, as though she knew I was going to ask her something. I stood there for a moment, not sure what to say. Finally, I asked her, "Why do you sell only one orange every day?" "Just one? Why not sell more? You could make a lot of money that way." Her response was soft, but it hit me hard. She said, "This orange is all I need to survive." I was confused. "But why? It's just a fruit. You could sell a lot more and make more money." She didn't rush to answer. Instead, she just stared at the orange, almost as if she was looking at something far beyond it. Then slowly, she said, "Years ago, I lost someone very dear to me. He loved oranges, especially this kind. He would always bring them to me and we would laugh and talk while he peeled them for me. One day, he was gone. He passed away suddenly, and I couldn't eat oranges anymore. But before he died, I promised him I would always sell just one orange every day. Just one. It's my way of remembering him." I didn't understand. She had lost someone, yes, but selling one orange every day seemed strange. She continued, her voice barely above a whisper now. "It's my way of honoring his love. Every day, I put out one orange, and that's all I need to keep his memory alive." I stood there for a while, just staring at her, trying to make sense of what she was saying. It was clear she wasn't some ordinary vendor. There was something deeper about her story, something that tied her to that simple orange, but I couldn't yet see what it was. I looked at the orange, its bright color standing out against the noise and chaos of the market around us. For a moment, everything else disappeared. It was just me, her, and the orange. I didn't know why, but I suddenly felt like I had to know more. As I reached into my pocket to pay for the orange, I realized that something had shifted inside me. This was no longer just about buying fruit. It felt like something bigger was at play, something that had nothing to do with money or business. I asked, "Could you ever sell more than one? I mean, why only one?" She shook her head gently. "No, one is enough. This one orange is my way of keeping him alive, even if it's just a small way. It's all I need." I was silent for a long time. I still didn't fully understand what she meant. But there was something about her, about the way she looked at that orange, that made me feel like I had just stumbled upon something very important, something I wasn't supposed to overlook. I couldn't stop thinking about the woman and the orange. The rest of the day felt different, like I was carrying something heavy in my chest, something that wasn't there before. It wasn't just about the fruit anymore. It was about the way she spoke, the way she looked at that orange like it was the most important thing in her world. The next day, I found myself walking back to the market almost without thinking. I hadn't planned on going back, but I needed to know more. I needed to understand why that single orange meant so much to her. When I got to her stall, she was there again, the orange glowing in the sun. I stopped for a moment, just watching her. She wasn't doing anything special, just standing there, waiting. There was no rush, no pressure. She didn't shout or call for customers. It was as if she wasn't part of the busy market at all. I walked up to her, and for the first time, I wasn't sure what to say. Yesterday's conversation had left a mark on me, and I wasn't sure how to ask what I wanted to know, but I had to try. I asked, "Why one orange? What does it really mean to you? I don't understand." She didn't look at me right away. Her eyes were on the orange,
as though she was seeing something in it that I couldn't. Then she looked up at me, and for a moment it felt like the world had gone quiet. There were no sounds of the market, no voices, no footsteps. It was just me and her standing in front of that orange. She spoke softly, like she was telling me something personal. You know, life doesn't always give us what we expect. We don't always get to choose what we lose or how we lose it. But what we can choose is how we remember. I lost someone I loved more than anything. And this orange, it's my way of remembering. Every day, I take out one orange. It's a small thing, but it keeps me connected to him, keeps me going. I listened, but the weight of her words made it hard to breathe. This wasn't just a woman selling fruit. This was someone who had learned how to survive a loss that I could never understand. She wasn't just selling one orange because it was all she had to offer. She was selling a piece of her heart, a piece of her history, with every fruit she placed on that stall. I thought back to my own life, to things I had lost, and I realized that maybe I had never truly understood the weight of memory, the power of holding on to something small that could carry so much meaning. I reached into my pocket to pay for the orange again, but something stopped me. This time, it wasn't just about buying the fruit. It was about understanding. I didn't want to just take it. I wanted to know why it mattered so much to her. She watched me for a moment, and then, as if she understood what I was thinking, she said, "It's not about the money. It's not about the orange. It's about keeping something precious alive, no matter how small. It's the little things that matter." I stood there, holding the orange, feeling its weight in my hand, but knowing the real weight was not in the fruit. It was in the story behind it. It was in the way she had chosen to live with her pain, to honor what was gone. I walked away, the orange in my hand, but my mind heavy with the knowledge that some things, some people stay with us long after they are gone. And maybe, just maybe, we can find a way to hold on to them, even in the simplest of ways.
I didn't return to the market the next day. I couldn't. The weight of that orange, of what I had learned, stayed with me. It felt like the world was moving around me, but I was stuck in place, trying to understand something I couldn't fully grasp. Why had I felt so connected to that orange? Why did it matter so much to me? It was the third day after my visit, and I found myself walking back to her stall. I couldn't stop thinking about what she had said. I wanted to know more, but something was holding me back. It wasn't just about the orange anymore. It was about how she had managed to turn her loss into something so meaningful, something I couldn't find in my own life. When I reached her stall, she was there as usual, standing quietly by the orange. No shouting, no rush, just her and the fruit. I stopped a few feet away, just watching her for a while. I knew I had to speak to her, but the words weren't coming easily. I had so many questions, but I wasn't sure how to ask them. She noticed me standing there and looked up. Her eyes met mine, and without saying a word, I felt like she knew exactly why I had returned. It wasn't for the orange anymore. It was for the story behind it. The story that seemed to have changed something in me. I stepped closer to her stall, and after a long pause, I said, "I've been thinking about what you said, about the orange, but I still don't understand how it all started. How did this all begin?" She smiled softly as if she had been waiting for me to ask. Then, slowly, she began to speak. "It started with him," she said, "the man I lost. We were married for a long time. We didn't have much, but we had each other, and that was enough. He worked hard, and every day, without fail, he would bring me one orange. Not two, not three, just one. He said it was the perfect fruit because it reminded him of how simple things, when shared, are often the most valuable. We'd sit together in the evenings and he would peel the orange for me. He would laugh and tell me stories, and we'd eat it together." She paused, her eyes distant now, like she was seeing those moments again. "When he passed away, everything changed. I couldn't bear the thought of eating oranges anymore. It hurt too much. But before he died, I promised him that I would keep buying and selling one orange every day. Not for the money, not for the business, but to honor him, to remember the simple joy of those oranges he would bring me every day." I stood there, feeling the weight of her words. I hadn't expected this. I thought I was coming to hear about a simple tradition, something small. But what she shared was much deeper. It wasn't just about the orange. It was about love, about the way we carry people with us, even after they are gone. I looked at the orange again, and for the first time, I saw it differently. It wasn't just fruit. It was a bridge between her past and her present, a way to hold on to something precious, something irreplaceable. She continued, her voice steady now. "Every day, I place the orange on this stall. It's my way of keeping him alive, not in my heart because he never left there, but in the world, in the eyes of people who pass by and wonder about it. It's the smallest thing I can do to keep him with me, and that's enough." I stood there for a while, staring at the orange, trying to understand. But I realized as I looked at her that some things don't need to be understood. Sometimes they just need to be respected. And in that moment, I respected her. I respected her strength and the way she had turned pain into something beautiful. I walked away again, but this time I didn't feel lost. I felt like I had been given a glimpse into something much bigger than I could have imagined. And that orange, it would never be just a fruit to me again. The next few days passed by in a blur. I couldn't stop thinking about the woman and the orange. Every time I went past the market, I'd glance at her stall, and every time I saw the orange, I felt like something was pulling at me, something I couldn't explain. It was no longer just about the fruit or the woman. It was about what I was learning from her, what I was learning about myself. But I still couldn't bring myself to buy the orange. I kept thinking about it, wondering if it was really something I should do. Was it just a simple gesture of respect, or was there something more to it? Was I trying to understand something I wasn't ready for? One afternoon, I found myself standing in front of her stall again. She was there, just as always, her eyes on the orange. She wasn't looking at anyone else. It was like she was waiting for something, but I wasn't sure what. I stood for a while, just watching her, not sure how to start the conversation. Finally, she looked up, and this time it wasn't like before. It wasn't just a look of quiet understanding. It was something deeper, something that felt like she knew exactly what I was thinking, exactly what I needed to hear. She spoke first. "You are thinking about the orange again, aren't you?" she said, her voice calm but knowing. I nodded. There was no point in denying it. "I don't know why, but it feels like I need to buy it, but something's stopping me."
I'm not sure what it is. She smiled, a small, knowing smile. She said, it's not about the orange. It never has been. The orange is just a thing that connects the past to the present. It's not the fruit that matters. It's the meaning behind it. It's about remembering, honoring, and letting go. I stared at her, not sure I understood what she meant. Letting go? I asked. She nodded. Yes, letting go. You see, when you lose someone you love, you carry them with you. You never really forget them. But sometimes you have to let go of the pain, let go of the hurt. The memory doesn't disappear, but the weight of it doesn't have to crush you every day. I stood there feeling the weight of her words. It was like she was speaking directly to me, not just about the orange, but about my own life, my own losses. I had never thought about it that way. I had been holding on so tightly to everything that I had lost, thinking that if I let go, I'll forget. But maybe, just maybe, holding on to the pain wasn't the way to remember. Maybe it was in finding a way to live with the memory without letting it control me. I looked at the orange again, this time seeing it in a new light. It wasn't just a fruit. It wasn't just something to buy. It was a symbol, a way of letting go, a way of honoring someone while moving forward. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the money. This time, when I handed it to her, I wasn't just buying an orange. I was buying into the lesson she had taught me. I was buying the chance to remember without the weight of the past holding me back. She handed me the orange, and I felt a strange sense of peace wash over me. It wasn't a magical moment. It wasn't some grand realization, but it was enough. It was enough to make me understand that the past could be honored, that the memory could be kept alive, but I didn't have to carry the pain every day. I didn't have to let the past define me. I walked away from her stall with the orange in my hand, but it wasn't just the fruit I was holding. It was the lesson, the understanding that I could move forward while still remembering. And maybe, just maybe, that was the most important thing of all.
A few days passed, and I found myself walking through the market with the orange in my hand. It felt different now, not just a piece of fruit, but a symbol of everything I had learned from her. It wasn't about the orange itself, but about what it represented: memory, love, and the power to let go of the pain while still holding on to what mattered. I passed by her stall every day now, and each time I'd see her there, standing quietly by the orange. I had bought it, yes, but I couldn't just walk away and forget about her. Something about her quiet strength, the way she lived her life, kept pulling me back. I had to see her again, to learn more, to understand how she kept going day after day with just that one orange. One morning, I came to the market earlier than usual. It was still quiet, the sun just beginning to rise, and the market hadn't yet filled with the usual noise and chatter. She was there, just as always, but today there was something different about her. She wasn't looking at the orange like she usually did. She was looking at the sky, her face calm, almost as if she was waiting for something. I walked up to her stall, and for the first time, she noticed me before I spoke. She turned to me, and for a moment, I saw a kind of peace in her eyes that I hadn't seen before. It wasn't just the quiet strength I had come to know. It was something deeper, something that told me she was ready to let go. I stood there for a moment, unsure what to say. Then I finally spoke. I bought the orange, but it's more than just the fruit. It's everything you taught me, about letting go, about remembering. She smiled softly, her eyes reflecting the understanding between us. She said, "You understand now, don't you? It's never about holding on to the pain. It's about keeping the love.
It's about honoring what's gone, but not letting it take away from the life you still have. I nodded, feeling the weight of her words in a way I hadn't before. I don't think I would have understood it if I hadn't come to you. You've shown me that remembering doesn't have to hurt forever, that there's a way to carry the memory without carrying the pain. She looked at me with quiet pride, and for a long moment we stood there, the sounds of the waking market beginning to fill the air around us. But it didn't feel as loud as it used to. It felt like I was in a space that belonged to only her and me. And in that moment, I knew she had taught me something that would stay with me for the rest of my life. I left her stall that day feeling lighter. The orange in my hand was no longer a burden, but a reminder of everything I had learned. It was a reminder that we don't always have control over the losses in our lives, but we do have control over how we choose to remember. We can choose to carry the love, the lessons, and the memories without letting the pain define us. As I walked away, I glanced back at her stall one last time. She was still standing there, just as she always did, with the one orange shining in the sun. And in that moment, I realized something important. She had let go. She had found a way to move forward, and now I could too. The circle had closed, and I was no longer the person I had been when I first saw her. I had learned that some things are meant to stay with us even when they're gone. And that was enough.